Let's talk about executive presence. Executive presence, it's a skill that executives have learned. It is not something that they were born with. Every well-composed executive has learned to be that well-composed executive over time. Take, for example, whatever your political affiliation, Barack Obama. When he first started in office, he was kind of, like loosey-goosey. You should see some of his speeches. Much more like that. In the end, after 8 years, his entire speech, ways of speaking, everything, incredibly composed, very composed. It's because he had some speech coaches to work with him, right? So this module will cover 5 areas of executive presence with tools and tips and things and exercises that you can do immediately to improve your executive presence. Now, the 5 pieces of executive presence of which that we are going to cover are being concise, being clear, being connected, being confident, and being composed, right? So let's first talk about being concise. Executives with great presence speak deliberately. They don't have streams of consciousness where they ramble and everyone's wondering where they're going. They speak deliberately. Sometimes, most times, less is more, okay? Less is more. So this is an exercise that you can do immediately to improve your conciseness, and that is to speak in threes. For example, Tim, that's a great idea. Let's do as Tim is recommending and focus on these 3 things. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. We can do that. I recommend that we tackle it first by doing this, then that. Oh, in my role, I was responsible for 3 main areas of work. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Okay? Concise. It gives a framework of speaking so that you stop yourself from stream of consciousness. Be concise, speak in threes. All right, the next one is clarity. Some of clarity is what you say and how you are describing something. Most times, clarity is how you say it, and it comes down to often articulation, speed, volume, all those things. These are 6 exercises that you can do to improve your clarity in speech. The first one is called QER. This is a vocal exercise of which you are basically massaging parts of your aperture that are used in articulation. If you would like to improve your speaking and sound much more articulate, I recommend you do this exercise. QER. So you would say Q, like Q, you feel in the back of your throat, Q, then E, like you're pulling, like in the dentist, they have that, E, and then R, like you're throwing up, Q, E, I know it looks weird. Don't do it on public transport. Do that 5 times every morning, 5 to 10, no more than that. You won't be able to speak. 5 to 10 every morning. And you will begin to speak much clearer with greater articulation. The second thing is having a radio voice. A radio voice is a term used for people who sound fantastic on the radio. There is an exercise that someone in our PATH process, or one of our coaches, had recommended. And I have found this to be very, very helpful in increasing your radio voice. Lie on the ground. You can do that now if you want. Lie on the ground, look up at the ceiling, and project your voice to the to the ceiling, all the way. Using one breath, count to 10, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then take another big deep breath in, go to 15, then go to 20, then go to 25, and then 30. It is easier to take full breaths in when you're lying down to give you that muscle memory of how it feels to take a deep breath in and go all the way to 30. This exercise will help you improve your radio voice. Another exercise you can do is to vary your speed and feel comfortable in using silence to make a point. Individuals who do not look as executive like just have streams of consciousness, and they keep talking and they keep talking and they keep saying all these things in one speed until they finish talking. Executives, on the other hand, vary their speed when they speak. You can begin to do that immediately as well. A next thing you could do is to vary the volume. You could speak softer or louder at will, so that you can make a point with something really exciting and you're passionate about, or talk about a secret that you've heard. Vary the volume. Another one is to lower the pitch in your voice, especially if you have a small voice box or if you have a high voice. For 5 days, speak with a lower volume and get your vocal cords very used to speaking at that volume. At that pitch, so that you lower your voice. When you're in an executive boardroom, if you're speaking like this and you have all these ideas versus having these ideas, you will command more attention. The next one, around clarity, is ending your sentences on an up versus ending your sentences on a down. See how it or a down? Oftentimes when you end your sentences on an up, it sounds like you're asking a question when you may not even be asking a question. And when you consistently end your sentences on an up, it communicates that perhaps I am trying to seek your approval, versus even asking a question and ending the sentence on a down. How does that sound? Okay. The third one is around connecting, and this is something that we've been honing and working on, and that is around stories. Not stream of consciousness stories, but very deliberate stories. By using stories, we connect with people. Start with a hook and then use incredibly vivid words so that they can actually imagine themselves there. Sometimes it helps to even say, imagine this, okay? I sucked at telling stories when I first started out. I would walk into a boardroom and begin to give my speech and presentation, and very soon I would see the eyes looking away from me, down onto their paper. They start scribbling something, and all of a sudden I look around and no one is paying attention. Then I started to integrate stories, and all of a sudden the eyes would stay glued to mine, not a scribble of a pen, and at the end they would smile and nod. I just gave you a story, by the way, right? Beginning with a hook, I used to suck at telling stories, and then using very vivid language, so it's as if they actually imagine themselves being there. All right, next one, confidence. Confidence. Confidence is a feeling. It's not a steady state. Sometimes you feel really great and confident, sometimes you don't. So when I say, I'm not very confident, you are confident, you just don't feel confident. And know that our feelings follow our thoughts. And we don't feel confident because our thoughts are leading us down a spiral where it's beginning to make us feel not so confident. There are exercises like the CTFAR, of which we had mentioned before. If you don't remember it, post. I'm sure someone will point you in the right direction. Know that you can control your feelings. And when you control your feelings, you control your feeling of confidence. And you control it by changing your thoughts. Here is an exercise that you can do immediately. It's an improv game called Big Small. Imagine you're on stage. You're sitting next to your improv buddy. The lights are blaring at you. You're looking out onto the audience and you see only heads of people, like, just images, like surrounding images of people. You can't really see them. And you hear the voice of your instructor saying, okay, begin. Your job is to be big, sitting in your seat without making a sound. Okay? What do? You start taking up room to be big. You spread your legs, you take up a lot of space, you give direct eye contact, while your partner next to you is being small, without saying a word, in his or her chair. So they're crouched down, curled up in a ball, looking at you side-eye. They're small. And then you hear the instructor say, switch. So then you who were big become small, and then you who are small become big. You can do this exercise at home, sitting in a chair. And being big, when you're big, you fill the space, you feel confident, you feel way more confident. So for 5 days, be big, without saying a word. Walk big, talk big, walk into a room big, claim the space in that room, right? Have your presence fill the entire room and see how it improves your feeling around confidence, right? The last one, number 5, composed. Be mindful of how you move around when you're speaking, how much you move around. Your eyes, where do they look? Your head, how is it moving and not moving? Your lips, your tongue, all of those things, including your hands, okay? What I want you to do immediately, and when we have our one-on-one Zoom calls, I want you to look at you, not me, and speak to you so you can see yourself as you're speaking. When you jump on an office hour, note the time. So when you look at the recording, you look at you. How are you speaking? Where are your eyes when you're thinking, when you're wondering? Where are your hands? What are you doing? How's your head? What's the position of your head? Are you constantly nodding? Are you constantly moving around and fidgeting? Do you notice yourself always scratching your hair, fixing your hair, all of those things? Notice how much you move around when you speak and become much more composed, okay? Become aware. Oftentimes, all it takes is an awareness. It doesn't mean that you're robotic at all. You still have absolute wonderful facial expressions, moving your hands, using your hands. Now it's more deliberate. Okay. The reason why we do these things is because we want to build muscle memory so that you control how you come across purely by the way you speak and how you sit and how you talk. Using these things to come across with executive presence. Tell you a story. I go to soccer games for my sons. One of my friends, Catherine, I see her walking up and I'm like, hey, Catherine, right? This is a soccer game. I'm like, hey, how are you? I look behind her and there is her father. Catherine's father, as they're coming closer, is a famous person. He's like full on, really nice guy, super famous, buildings named after him. He's like Mr. Science, like super brilliant and amazing guy. I snapped my muscle memory and I went, oh, hello, Mr. McIntyre, how are you? Okay, from Catherine to, oh, Mr. McIntyre, it's nice to meet you, how are you? Because I snapped into my muscle memory, because I know how I want to come across and so I control the way in which that I want to come across. So the goal is for us to build this muscle memory so that you can control how you come across as well in an interview and forevermore. There are 5 things of which we talked about are, as executives, we want to be concise, we want to be clear, we want to connect, we want to be confident and composed. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, this is Kara. If you found this module to be helpful, know that this is the same type of coaching and training that my private clients get in our VIP coaching. Now, VIP coaching is not for everyone, but if you are a leader or an emerging leader and serious about making a change and willing to get outside your comfort zone and try something new, then what I'm about to say is for you. If you would like our career coaching, if you want a career that is meaningful, personally and financially, so that you are excited about getting up and going to work in the morning, then I invite you to fill out an application form to chat with me or a member of my team, and we can explain more about how the VIP coaching works. If this sounds good to you, click on the button below and fill out an application form, and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. I look forward to supporting you in your career direction.